As a bookkeeping cleanup specialist, I've worked on over 40 books for real estate investors, professional service providers, shops and cafes, e commerce, and trades businesses in the US. Here are the top three most common issues I see in the books and how they affect the business and how it turned out. And just a note that I do United States specific bookkeeping. This is US focused. So, very common issue that I see in the books is sales tax issues. So, if a business owner tells me they have sales tax, then I just expect to find a problem. Businesses are either undercharging or not collecting sales tax at all from their customers, or they are collecting sales tax, but they're not paying it to the appropriate tax agency, or they overpaid sales tax to the tax agency because they weren't correctly calculating the revenue. So, a few examples. I did one cleanup where a jewelry seller, they were selling on Etsy and they were using Square to process payments, but they were only charging 4% sales tax instead of the 8.25% sales tax, which meant they were undercharging and they had to pay the difference from their own revenue. And so how we fix this is we updated their Square settings to make sure they were charging the correct percentage from their customers. And that way they could collect and then pay that and keep all their actual revenue. Another example is a trades business. They had collected sales tax from customers, but they hadn't been making payments because their accountant, who was responsible for making payments, just hadn't. And the owner didn't realize that until I cleaned up the books and told her payments hadn't been made for months. So once the owner found out about it, they were able to resolve the issue with the accountant and start making payments on it. The cleanup did help them address that issue. A last example, a client who I take care of the books for monthly, they they had paid their sales tax, and when I saw the payment come through, I realized they were overpaying. And so once I talked with them and found out that they were counting the sales tax collected from customers as part of their revenue. And so once I showed how to properly file a sales tax, how to properly get her revenue number, then she was able to file correctly the next month and stop overpaying. So the second issue I've seen in cleanups is invoicing problems, usually from either missing a step in invoicing process or just an inconsistent workflow. So usually those two common problems are the business is not tracking invoices at all, or there's duplicate income on their P&L because of the inconsistent workflow. Two examples from cleanups. The first one is from me. So I used to do sign language interpreting, and I was still interpreting when I first started my bookkeeping business. So I cleaned up my own books for my interpreting work. And I was not consistent tracking invoices early on. And so during that cleanup, I discovered hundreds in overdue payments that hadn't been paid out to me. And so I did set up one place to do my invoicing from. So I used Wave app, the Wave bookkeeping software. And then I was also able to recover those overdue payments by reaching out to the interpreting agencies and they paid me. Second example, so a trades business, they had some negative unpaid balances in their QuickBooks account on their balance sheet because they had duplicate invoices for jobs. And so how we fixed that was we streamlined their invoicing to use just one invoicing system because they were using two and it was inconsistent. Some invoices were in one system and some were in the other, and some were in both. And so we had them pick one invoicing system to use and then train the staff on how to actually invoice correctly. And then made sure that everything was synced over to QuickBooks correctly. So that way the numbers were correct in QuickBooks. The third common issue I see in bookkeeping cleanups are missing expenses. So these are really easy deductions that get overlooked. A good tax preparer will catch these for you and make sure you get your deductions. But if you don't have a good communicative tax preparer with the time to focus on you and your tax return like that, then you're going to miss out on these deductions and having that complete picture of your finances. So, um, more specifically, the common problems I see with this one is the bank accounts are unreconciled and missing expenses, and loan and credit card interest is not on the P&L, and those are really easy deductions. So, two real examples from past cleanups. One of my monthly clients, their QuickBooks stopped syncing to their bank account like halfway through the month. And so 2 weeks of transactions were not in QuickBooks. Luckily, since I was doing their books monthly, I caught that and was able to just manually import that missing data. And then their deductions were in their books. And then the second example is a trades business. They had multiple loans, but they weren't on the books for like 2 years. So that meant that their loan interest was not on the P&L. Also, their loan balances weren't correct in QuickBooks. And so once I got that cleaned up to show the correct loan balance and also show how much they paid in loan interest. The summary again, so those three common issues, those was sales tax issues, invoicing issues, and missing expenses. So the sooner you can identify those three issues, then the easier they are to fix. So you don't want to wait until they become a really tangled mess. So do you need any help getting your books ready for tax season? Because that is something that I do. I can take a look at your books and see what needs to be fixed to be tax ready. So I'll leave that link in the description.